Revenant has been buffed. She's now playable. Patch rundown finished. Ciao. No, but seriously, it's amazing how they finally listened and did the changes I've been suggesting for like months. All characters with the exception of Wilder, Recluse and Iron Eye were buffed. Post-editing waifu here, turns out that Wilder was buffed, I just forgot. His ultimate fire now charges your ultimate back. Poggers. Iron Eye was even indirectly nerfed. Not that it will affect him though. Remember that I usually test the changes and compare characters in deeper levels of Deep of Night, rather than the normal game mode. As in the normal game mode, pretty much anything can be consistently viable because, well, it's easy. You need to test the characters in the most hazardous environment possible. So yeah, without any further yapping, let's get into it. Guardian. Increased damage negation for physical and various elemental attacks. Increased guard boost when guarding. I mean, this one is pretty self-explanatory. He blocked good before, he blocks better now. All types of blocking have 100% physical damage negation in this game, so the only things that can damage you through shields are elemental attacks. He now blocks more of them. Duh. I tested a bit of it in Deep of Night 4, solo, please don't try this at home, and I guess it's fine. I mean, it's still Guardian. Not great if you ask me. Also, the damage I'm dealing is because I have like 5 improved initial standard attack relics. No damage changes were made to per person. Overall, he's still the same. Now, these are a bit more interesting. For Raider, they increased the speed of various attacks, except dual-wielded and jump attacks, and adjusted the movement distance of some attacks when using weapons of the Great Axe, Great Hammers, or Colossal Weapons categories, as in his special moveset. The video you're watching is from Mr. Murakumo, and he compares in here both pre- and after-patch movesets. For the first part, the light attacks are noticeably faster and actually feel much better to play. Like, actually really good, not gonna lie. What this buff basically does is give Raider a much better early game when playing Deep of Night solo. Faster attacks logically reduce the chances of trading into shit. I know the main gimmick of the guy is trading and being a funny haha unga bunga guy, but you can't realistically do that in Deep of Night. Porque los bichos te rompen el orto. Everything deals shit tons of damage and you can't really allow yourself to be taking any of it, as being below max HP will render improved damage negation at full HP useless, a passive that is many times key to survive in Deep of Night. However, despite being faster, it's still too slow. Granted, you will stun lag certain enemies to death if you use colossal weapons with this moveset, but other enemies will feel like you never actually get a turn to attack, forcing you to either avoid them or use a different weapon. It's not necessarily a super bad thing, but since the whole buzz are about the improvement of his unique moveset, it still does feel kinda pointless when you still can't properly fight bigger enemies with it. For the second part, his charge heavy attack received a massive speed and recovery buff. Like, the difference is day and night. Rain. And while it may of course work in the normal game mode or in Deep of Night trios, in solo it has the same issue as the light attack or worse. You are forcing trades against enemies that hit much harder than you. And the enemies that don't hit harder than you probably don't need a fully charged heavy attack to their face to be dealt with. You probably could sneak in a fully charged heavy here and there against certain enemies, and you would certainly stance break them from time to time, but I don't think it's worth the dying risk, considering that you could just run an initial standard attack build and deal around the same damage, only 1,000,000 times faster. He also has a new effect for his passive. Raider gains 50% more damage when his HP goes below 20%, but it doesn't work like the Red Feather Talisman where you keep the damage buff as long as you're below 20% HP. You get the damage when you cross that HP threshold, and you keep it for only 10 seconds. If you receive damage when below 20% HP, it will not trigger again. You will need to heal back to full and cross that threshold one more time. I suppose it could be useful in certain instances, but being below 20% HP is not something you want to do in Deep of Night. Still a nice buff though. Final buff is that they increase the attack range of Totem Stella. That's it. Nothing out of this world. Raider still feels like a less efficient Wilder to me, like he does have a better early game now, but his skill is not very Deep of Night friendly and his weapons of choice are just too slow for the game mode. Wilder can instead use a larger variety of faster weapons, as a better passive for survivability, and his ultimate is 1,000,000 times better. And while the buffs make Raider a bit less to do, there's still no reason to use him. But the bean? Oh, the bean is a whole different story. However, I don't think you could appreciate her story if you don't own Nightreign, which is hard to manage if you only go by with your mom's allowance. But not everything is lost, pequeña tomatito cherry. Because Instant Gaming has got you covered. Instant Gaming is your trusty go-to website to buy games, game cards, and subscriptions on big discounts for any platform of your liking. Perfect for little toys allergic to jump applications. You could purchase big titles that will give you bragging rights within your friend group, or you could look for $2 wonders that will hit you harder than any gooning session. I cannot stress enough how poggers Tormented Souls is. For less than $3, you get a better Silent Hill experience than freaking Silent Hill F. I guarantee you. Code Vein 2 is also just around the corner, and you wouldn't want to miss out on Goon Souls now, would you? Game availability and prices change daily, so be sure to check Instant Gaming every day to find new entertainment for your rotting sumer attention span brain.
But I'm not done yet!
And of course, by clicking our link in the description below and creating an account, you can participate in our monthly free giveaway to win anything of your liking. No purchases necessary. So waste not any more precious nanoseconds and click that juicy link in the description to instant Alola Gaming. Do it right now. Thanks again to Instant Gaming for sponsoring this video. Devin received 2 offs, but in reality it only took one of them to make her actually viable in Deep of Night. Her summons now scale with Deep of Night level. I can't believe it. They actually fucking listened. It feels like such a dumb no shit moment, but it is something they should have done from the very beginning. I want to leave my video on it also hit, Lamau. But yeah, your summons now feel like you're playing the regular game mode. They don't die in one hit, and they deal decent damage to enemies. I was nearly euphoric watching Helen and Frank actually hurt enemies instead of being made of wet paper all around. This change allows your summons to take aggro while you take the backline throwing rocks like the little Engie Bean of Doom that you are. Using the relic that has you start with Beast Claw makes her very good from the get-go. It deals a fuck ton of damage by default, and you can increase it with the improved Bestial Incantations relic passive, essentially making her a walking nuke. Bestial Sling is also nice, but placing yourself in range of unnecessary danger when you're just so squishy is not a good idea, especially if you don't have any damage negation passives like it happened in a few of my runs. I swear to God, the RNG of this game fucking hates me. When you get to the Night Lords though, things are a bit different. Since for the summons the game basically behaves as if you were playing the regular game mode, it stands to reason that everything behaves like it. So when you fight the Night Lords, they fucking die in 2 hits. It didn't help that the boss I got was the Balancers, but to be honest, I think I lost the fight because of my inexperience fighting them with the bean and the fact that anything they did one-shot me. Regardless of that, it is my firm belief that, in her current state, Revenant is stronger than Raider, Guardian, and Recluse for Deep of Night solo, and maybe Trios as well. Since Shattering Crystal received a huge nerf and it's not as strong as it used to be for Recluse and Duchess. But when it comes to strong shit, you gotta take a look at the Executor. For comparison, this is the buff list of Raiders, Guardians, and Revenant's buffs combined. And this is the list of the Executor's buffs. Bro, it's that one Family Guy meme where the family is starving but the dad is eating fucking everything. Let's go one by one so you can see just how ridiculous this is. Executor now deals more damage with critical hits when using the Cursed Sword. Your guard boost is increased when using the Cursed Sword. Your stagger damage when deflecting is increased. Your stamina damage when deflecting is reduced. Running out of stamina while deflecting is no longer a guard break. Your Cursed Sword can now be boosted by skill attack power and melee attack power passives. Your full reform deals more damage, except for the roar. Your full reform now scales with Deep of Night level, except for the roar. You get extra damage negation when doing the full reform scale attack, and if you run out of HP when you die in full reform, you will transform back to normal with 1 HP. The buffs are massive. I tried Executor using my initial standard attack build in Deep of Night 4 in the Great Hollow map, and I was dealing insane damage, deflecting like crazy and easily making it to the second night boss, where I died. Which would be kinda sad if it weren't for the fact that this was my first time playing the fucking character. He literally doesn't need weapons because Curse Blade is now extremely overpowered. And if you use a crit build, as you should, every crit you deal will vaporize enemies. He has a great early game thanks to his bleed, and an amazing mid and late game thanks to the Curse Blade. And you can spam his dog form a bit more freely now, as the damage you receive is not as insane as before in Deep of Night. If he's not currently the best solo Deep of Night character in the game, pegan el However, this requires you to be somewhat familiar with the moveset of the enemies you're fighting, so you can properly time your deflections. Because if you simply mash the block button, you're very likely to get either guard broken or bonked into oblivion. To me, I think playing him with the initial standard attack build feels a bit more balanced, as his crit damage is already high by default and the damage boost from your Curse Blade makes it even stronger. Of course, if you're insane at deflecting, by all means just go bananas with the crit build. I mean, look at that shit. But I still think Wilder is a bit better, to be honest. He just seems much more versatile for every situation in solo mode, and at one point I'm gonna make a video about him because he's just bonkers.
That's my opinion!
So yeah, I think those are the most important changes in the patch. There were other changes, like the nerf to the Undertaker Relic, the one with the successive attacks, which now deals less damage, the FP nerf to Shattering Crystal and its availability on staffs, and adjustments to some talismans, but none of that comes even close to the gameplay changes of the characters. This balanced patch is a godsend, and I honestly cannot wait to experiment with Executor, Revenant, and Raider. It's gonna be very poggers. Oh yeah, I forgot, they also killed Pot Scholar because there's only a limited amount of fire pots you can buy now. Lamao.